We're so close. But so far. Hello everyone, it is Hunter from Gaming by Gamers, and welcome back to Web Series episode 15. Today we're going to be playing... Today we're going to be playing The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox 360. I tried to give this game a fairer shot by getting it on the Xbox One, but it's actually been delisted, so I had to borrow this copy from a friend. So, no more time to waste, I guess. Let's just get right into the review. I think most people know how this review is going to go, so I want to talk about what I liked about the game first. Well, first, the web swinging in this game has a pretty interesting mechanic that none of the other games have done. You use each trigger to control each hand. If you press the left trigger, you'll swing from the left side. If you press the right trigger, you swing from the right side. I thought this was a pretty cool idea. It made swinging around and doing acrobatics feel a little more skillful and a lot more personal. Another cool feature is your webs actually attach to buildings again. Couple that with the hand mechanics and you have a pretty unique and fun way to swing around the city. That being said, I know I said we were starting with positive first, but I have to bring this up. In the last game, I complained about the gravity feeling too low. In this game, I thought I was on the moon. The gravity in this engine just doesn't feel right. You accelerate way too fast when going up and way too slow when falling down. It reminds me of a Roadrunner cartoon. Another thing I like is the costume for Spider-Man. I've always been a huge fan of the eyes on this costume, and it looks just like the movies. The textures are pretty low res when you actually take a second to stare at it, but I'm gonna chalk that up to it being on the Xbox 360 when this should have been a next generation game. Kraven the Hunter looks great, and his voice acting is really good too.
Then there will always be a greater predator than you.
Alright, now that we have that out of the way, let's move on to the cons. The game starts out with Spider-Man's origin story. Well, you can't have a Spider-Man game without the origin story. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't understand why they felt the need to show this. If they're gonna do the origin story again, why not in the first game, not the sequel? Also, if I see Uncle Ben die one more time, I'm gonna kill him myself. Now we flash forward and get to play as Spider-Man as he tries to chase down his uncle's killer, for some reason. I mean, I get that it's something he'll never get over, it just seems kind of odd now. After he fought the Great Serpent, it just seems... I don't know, a little anticlimactic? Also, this game is really dark. No, not tone-wise, like, it's actually dark. I thought this was a stylistic choice, and then I thought it was some sort of texture glitch, and right around here I realized that the default settings were really low. He blends into the walls when it's dark outside. That was a pretty easy fix though. Anyways, you swing over to an area where you get to fight for the first time. It really just feels like the last game, but a lot easier. I actually struggled when I got overwhelmed in the last game, but in this game they all attack you one by one with very few exceptions. Then the game had the audacity to throw this feature at me. I'm so excited to make game-changing decisions and get into the nitty-gritty Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game lore. Man, no wonder Telltale went out of business. How could they compete with this?
Have funds to raise.
Yeah, I've got important things to do too.
I just don't understand why they would think this was needed in a Spider-Man game. Was anyone asking for Mass Effect-like dialogue trees? This just feels so out of place. What's that?
I said, are you liking the game so far?
I want to kill myself. So the beginning of this game's plot focuses on Peter trying to find his uncle's killer. Once you track him down, you find out someone else has gotten to him first, and what? What the? Who did? What? Okay, so they killed Uncle Ben's killer and then put trash all over him? You look over to the right and see the letters CK written in blood on the walls. I'm gonna let you guess who this could possibly be. Who kills people, and then who would write CK? Alright, you guessed it.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring.
Well, that's a copyright strike on this video. You might be wondering, when does this take place in the Amazing Spider-Man universe? The first game took place after the first movie, so it would make sense for the second game to take place after the second movie. Nope. This is a replacement, reimagining, retelling, I'm not really sure, but all I know is you meet Max Dillon before he becomes Electro, and it's completely different than in the movie.
I really appreciate the help, partner.
Partner?
Did you... Did you have something to say? So it's supposed to be a replacement for the movie, but it only briefly brings up Harry and Max. And they're like the main plot points of the movie. Besides Gwen Stacy, of course. And, of course, she's not in the game. Yeah. She was such an important part of the story in the first game, and she was a really important part of the second movie, so why the hell is she missing from the entire game? There's only one mention of her in the game, and if you blink, you'll miss it.
Gwen, she still interns at Oscorp.
At the office this late?
That's it? I don't know why they chose to disclude her, but let's just keep going. The game focuses more on the other plot point of hunting down the Carnage Killer. That leads you to finding Kraven, who offers to help train you to become a better hunter. Kraven is one of the best parts of this game. He is just an interesting character, and I liked him training Peter to become better, even if it was short-lived. As the plot continues, we see Harry and the Kingpin set up a task force that is meant to take down criminals that the cops can't handle. That leads into the newest game mechanic, Hero or Menace. When you're swinging around the city, there will be events where you can go down and help civilians. The previous Spider-Man games have been pretty split on how to approach these. For some games you need to save civilians in order to progress, and other games they aren't even present. In this game, if you avoid the citizens, the city deems you a menace, and the task force will attack you when you're in the open world. I don't know if it's the best solution. I mean, because it's so infrequent and the game is so short, I'm not really incentivized to do any of these extra missions. Although I do think it was one of the better roads they could have taken for this, so kudos to them for that. Don't get used to that, Beanox. That was your one compliment for the rest of the video. The whole task force was set up by Harry Osborn, and besides that, his story is pretty close to the story of the movie. He's sick and wants to use Spider-Man's blood to try and save himself. Spidey doesn't let him because it could be dangerous, and that's the last we hear of it until the last quarter of this game. In the meantime, we get a pretty pointless Black Cat side story. There's not much to talk about, except for at one point she calls him on the phone and he hangs up with her by saying this.
Games with you. Bye, Felicia.
Did you say that on purpose, or was that... I got my eyes on you, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Kraven helps you track down the Carnage Killer and you confront him. Carnage wants you to kill him, and so does Kraven. Spider-Man obviously does the right thing, of course, and sends him to jail. Kraven gets upset because Spider-Man won't kill, and we see that Oscorp is doing cross-species experiment with Carnage at the Ravencroft prison. In the meantime, we go to a fundraiser hosted by Kingpin to prove that he's taking out his rival gangs to gain complete power. This Kingpin side story is really boring, and I just couldn't catch my interest in the slightest. All I know is that Peter Parker went to a fundraiser surrounded by rich people at a fancy party and is wearing this. Also, Peter's character model is super ugly. Just so ugly. After the party, Max Dillon has turned into Electro and he's attacking the city. Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I slip into a coma? We saw Max...
Partner?
One time the entire game, and now he's just suddenly Electro? Okay, I guess. That was never shown in the game at all. Alright, listen, I have a theory. I think Beanox, the game's developer, saw the script of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie and realized that it was a dumpster fire. So they only put in the bare minimum of the movie story and really just tried to tell their own story. This makes a lot of sense when we skip forward towards the end of the game and see how they treat Harry. All of a sudden he's the Green Goblin for one mission and then we defeat him. Same with Electro. The only other time you see him is in the previous mission. You fight him here and then brutally murder him. So yeah, now that the movie characters are all taken care of, we go to the prison where Carnage is being held and he's started infecting everyone. In this universe, the symbiote isn't from space. It's also not really explained, so yeah, just get over it. Anyways, you fight Carnage as a half-infected person and it's a pretty standard boss fight. Then when you beat him, you get to actually fight Carnage and he looks really good. I was honestly impressed with how comic accurate they went with him. You have to use fire and shockwaves in order to stop him, so I gotta give him points for that. Once you beat him, you let Carnage burn to death. Dear God. And that's pretty much the game. Oh yeah, there's one final cutscene where Kingpin leaves the game on the cliffhanger, but we all know that's not coming out anytime soon. So yeah, that's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie video game. There was a few cool features in this one, but nothing that could redeem itself from all of the glitches, bad gameplay mechanics, and out-of-place story. Overall, I'm gonna give this game 4 Danny DeVitos out of 10. And then there was one. Thank you everyone for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. If you want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell right next to it. That'll have you be notified every time I upload. The next episode is the finale, Let's see together if this has all been worth it. Thank you again so much for watching, and have a great day.